Hello, my fellow students. I am Du Shenyan from Beijing International Chinese College. Today, we will learn about the structure of Hanzi. Are there any rules for learning Hanzi? What kind of structures do they have? How do we write Hanzi correctly? In this lesson, we will answer these questions. First, I have some questions. Do you know how many Hanzi there are in total? How many commonly used Hanzi there are? How many Hanzi are required for HSK level 6? The first question, actually this question is pretty hard to answer. The number of Hanzi in different dictionaries varies greatly. For example, the dictionary 中华字海 contains more than 80,000 characters, but many of those characters are no longer in use today. The number of modern Hanzi is generally 7,000. Among those 7,000 Hanzi, there are 2,500 first-level commonly used Hanzi. If you can master these 2,500 Hanzi, you will have no problem reading most things. For the third question, the answer is about 2,600. So, if you can persist in learning 7 Hanzi every day, then in less than a year, you can master the Hanzi required for HSK level 6. Now, let's take a look at how Hanzi are formed. This class contains 3 parts: for methods for creating Hanzi, strokes, and components. This is Xu Sheng, a famous scholar from the Eastern Han Dynasty. He wrote an important dictionary called 说文解字 by analyzing the shapes and origin of Hanzi. In this dictionary, he sums up 6 methods for creating Hanzi, which have had an important influence. Among these methods, there are 4 main types, which are pictographs, indicative characters, associated compounds, and phonograms. Pictographs. Pictographs are characters that depict a thing in a simple drawing. As we mentioned earlier, with the development of Hanzi, modern Hanzi have become less pictographics. So, if we want to understand those pictographs, we have to take a look at the ancient characters. Now, let's take a look at some characters and guess their meanings. The first is mu. It represents a whole tree. The second is niu. It selects a typical part of an ox, the horns. This is gua. In addition to the main part, it also depicts the vines. Did you guess them correctly? Pictographs have their own disadvantages. One of the disadvantages is that they cannot be used to express complex or abstract things. Although the number of pictographs in commonly used Hanzi today are not that many, they are still the basic type of character as well as an important part of Hanzi. Now, let's have a challenge. What pictographs can you find in this picture? Did you find all? This is mu, which means tree. This is yu, which means sun. This is fu, which means man. This is hao, which means grass. This is men, which means door. This is she, which means house. This is quan, which means dog. And this is ji, which means chicken. Indicative characters. Indicative characters are the characters that are either symbolic signs or formed by ending marks to pictographs to showing meaning. These are two characters for 上 and 下. Both of them have a long horizontal line which represents the level. If we put a short line above it, it becomes 上. If we put a short line below it, it becomes down. This is 木, which means tree. If we put a mark under the wood, it becomes 本, which means root. If we put a mark here, it becomes 末, which means tip. This is the character for knife, 刀. If we put a mark here, what does it mean? It means blade. These two characters are indicative characters. Associate compounds. Associate compounds are the characters that are formed by combining two or more independent pictographs to create a new meaning. This character, it has a person on the left side and a tree on the right side, which means a person learning on a tree. It means to rest. Then can you guess the meanings of these two characters? The first is 从, means to follow. It has a person on the left side and a person on the right side, as if two people are walking forward one after the other. This character is made up of 3 mu. The number 3 in ancient China means a lot, so there are a lot of trees. It means forest. Then, these two characters are associate compounds. 4. Phonograms. Phonograms are composed of 2 parts, one to indicate meaning and one for pronunciation. There are 3 characters for 江, 海, yang. These 3 characters have the same left side, which is related to water, and the right side is their pronunciation. Today, due to phonetic changes, the pronunciation of the part doesn't always match the pronunciation of modern Hanzi, but some relationship can still be found. Phonograms is the most important and vital method for creating Hanzi. Why? When the above 3 methods no longer meet the demand for continuous creation of new characters, phonograms take over as the most important and vital method for creating Hanzi. In the aforementioned Han Dynasty Dictionary, the 说文解字, more than 80% of the Hanzi are phonograms. Modern Hanzi are mostly phonograms. So, understanding how these kinds of characters are made, you can better understand Hanzi in general. 2. Strokes. Strokes are the smallest and the most basic parts of Hanzi, consisting of dots and lines. There are 6 basic strokes, which are 点, 横, 竖, 撇, 捺, and 提. Now, please take your pen and let's write together. This is 点, a dot. 横 is from left to right. 竖 is from top to bottom. 撇 is from upper right to bottom left. 捺 is from upper left to bottom right. 提 is from bottom left to upper right. There are 3 combinations of strokes, which are separation, connection, and intersection. When writing Hanzi, If you can pay attention in the combinations of strokes, you will make less mistakes. When writing Hanzi, we need to follow the orders of strokes. The rules are as follows. 1. First horizontal strokes, then vertical ones. 2. First left falling strokes, then right falling strokes. 3. First upper strokes, then lower ones. The fourth is writing from left to right. The fifth is writing from outside to inside. The sixth is writing from center to either side. Components. Strokes can form components, and components can form characters. Some characters that have only one component, such as 日, 月, 女, 马, we call them single type characters. Some characters contain two or more components, such as 名, 妈, we call them combined characters. The simple time characters are easier to write, so when we start to learn Hanzi, we learn this part first. When we write Hanzi, understanding the structures of Hanzi will help us a lot. Here are some examples for structures. The first is single. The second structure is left and right. The third structure is up and down. The fourth structure is full in circle. Have you found the rules? Now, let's do some practice. Did you guess correctly? A few commonly used radicals. In combined characters, some components indicate pronunciation and some indicate meaning. Radicals are the components that indicate category and meaning. Here are some commonly used radicals. The first one, it is related to wood or trees, such as 林, 枝. The second is related to grass or plants, such as 草, 花. The third is related to person, such as 你, 他. The fourth is related to woman, such as 妈, 姐. The last is related to hands, such as 打, 找. Of course, you can put more after that. So we can call this a radical data bank. The more you learn, the more you can put it after that. The more you learn, the more you can add. So, if you are planning to learn Hanzi, here are some suggestions for you. First, I suggest you learn single type characters and then learn combined characters. When learning combined characters, I suggest you set up a radical data bank first, such as wood, person, woman, and so on. When you meet new characters, I suggest you split them up first and record what their radicals are. When writing Hanzi, first analyze the structure, then look at the relationship between strokes, and understand the order of strokes. I hope these suggestions are useful to you, and I wish great success in your studies. That's all. Thank you. 谢谢。